They laughed at her, mocked her for being poor, called her names as if she was less than human. But when she whispered, "I'll pay double if you have a balance," their smiles froze. Because the girl they humiliated was the one they never saw coming. The cafe was buzzing with chatter, the clinking of cups, and the low hum of conversations. But suddenly, one corner grew louder, sharper. Laughter cut through the air like broken glass. A group of well-dressed customers leaned in, smirking as they stared at the young black girl waiting at the counter. Her coat was old, her shoes scuffed, her purse thin and worn. She held it tightly, as though guarding the little she had. The whispers began soft, but grew bolder, crueler, until they became daggers meant to wound. Why is she even here? This cafe isn't for people like her. She probably doesn't even have enough for coffee. Look at her, trying to fit in where she doesn't belong. The laughter followed, each word a stone meant to break her spirit. Eyes turned toward her, some in judgment, some in silent pity, but no one spoke up, and still she stood tall, her back straight, her eyes steady. The barista hesitated, caught between the mocking voices and the silent strength before him. For a moment, the cafe seemed to hold its breath. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm but firm, cutting through the cruelty like steel. "If anyone here has a balance," she said, "I'll pay double." The cafe froze. Cups stopped midway to lips. Laughter died in throats. Her words hung heavy in the air, undeniable, unforgettable. The girl they mocked was not weak. She was not broken. She was something far greater, something they had never expected. No one in that cafe knew her story. No one had asked. She had grown up in the hardest corners of life. Her mother worked 2 jobs, returning home long after midnight, her hands blistered, her face tired. The girl had learned early what hunger felt like, what cold winters without heat did to the body. She had known the shame of hand-me-down clothes and the quiet humiliation of being overlooked, but what no one saw was the fire those hardships lit inside her. She studied late nights with a flickering lamp, determined not to be trapped by her circumstances. She worked at diners, babysat, cleaned houses, every coin saved, every hour spent clawing her way upward. Against all odds, she earned scholarships, pushed through college, and built a business from nothing. And now, she could have walked into that cafe in diamonds and silk. She could have arrived in luxury. But she chose simplicity. Because true strength doesn't shout, it speaks in silence. The tension in the cafe thickened. The mockers shifted in their seats, their smirks gone, replaced by shame they could not hide. Some stared into their cups, suddenly small. Others avoided her gaze, too proud to admit they had been wrong. The barista, visibly moved, whispered softly, "There are no balances here." The girl nodded, placed her card on the counter, and paid for her coffee. Her movements were calm, graceful, unshaken. She didn't need to argue. She didn't need to defend herself. Her presence alone was the answer. She turned toward the exit, her footsteps light but unyielding. And just before she reached the door, she paused. "You should never judge someone by what they carry in their hands," she said, her voice ringing with quiet power. But by what they carry in their heart. The cafe fell into a silence deeper than any laughter could fill. The cruel voices were gone, replaced by the heavy weight of guilt. Strangers who had once looked away now watched her leave with wide eyes, her dignity towering above them all. Outside, the world continued, cars passed, leaves rustled, life went on. But inside that cafe, the lesson lingered. People shifted uncomfortably in their seats, aware they had witnessed something they would never forget. The man who mocked her the loudest leaned back, his face pale, his words echoing back in his mind with shame. Who is she?" he whispered. No one answered. Because the truth was clear. She was someone stronger than they had ever imagined. She was not poor. She was not powerless. She was a living reminder that true worth is never written on clothes, wallets, or appearances. It is written in courage, in silence, In the quiet strength to rise above cruelty without lowering yourself to it. And so, her story became more than a moment. It became a mirror. A mirror to every person in that room, and to every person watching that dignity is priceless. Respect costs nothing. And cruelty reveals far more about the one who mocks than the one being mocked. Because sometimes the ones you laugh at are the very ones carrying the strength you'll never understand. I'll pay double if you have a balance. A sense that silenced the room. A sentence that will never be forgotten. And maybe that's the greatest lesson of all. Never underestimate the quiet strength standing in front of you. What would you have done if you were in that cafe? Would you have laughed, stayed silent, or spoken up? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from. And subscribe for more stories that reveal the unseen power of dignity and respect.